Hello, you're listening to Storytelling Saga, the podcast that shares stories. I'm your host, Allie, and this week I am thrilled to be chatting with Georgie Leahy. Welcome, Georgie.
Hello everyone, whoever's listening.
Exactly. So, I wanted to start, Georgie, by asking about your movie that you recently co-produced called Bosco on Peacock. I'd love to hear about that.
Yes, yeah. So it's so crazy because it's it started like the whole process of filmmaking is a long one.
Totally.
So it's so exciting to finally have people watching it now, and it's crazy because I'll bump into old friends or people I don't know very well, and they're like, "Oh my God, that film on Peacock." I'm like, "Oh my God, it's such a big deal." And I'm so proud that we got to tell the true story of Conte, and yeah, it's just really exciting to have it out there. And it's the first big thing that I've co-produced. So I really fell in love with the art of producing. I didn't know, being an entertainer and an actress, like you naturally start producing things, and it's just the way it goes. But I'd never produced something that there wasn't a role for me in.
No,
So
that's
it's funny when I first posted about it, everyone just assumed I was in the movie, and I'm like, no, damn it, I'm not in the movie, but I did co-produce the movie, and I realized how much I loved producing. I really, it's still a performance. You are really, like, you're making sure everyone's happy, you're bringing all the moving parts together, and I really, really fell in love with every process of it. And because it did take quite a long time, the movie started being written in 2018, and we started filming in 2020. And so it's been such a long time coming that, like, I finally got to watch the movie, like the final version that everyone, hopefully you're all going to watch it if you haven't yet, that everyone has watched. And I watched it the night that it came out, and I'm watching it and I'm like, oh my goodness, wow, like I brought that actor into this film. Oh, I did this. Oh, I was there when this happened. Oh, I was looking after Thomas Jane and Tyrese, and all these things. I'm like, I forgot how much I did, how much so many people do to make a movie happen. There's so many moving pieces. So yeah, I have to remember to give myself a pat on the back, because it was a really amazing process. And it's funny, there's a moment in Bosco. I don't think it's a spoiler. I don't think it's a spoiler, but in the script, it was basically showing Hunt, Thomas Jane's character, and his home life. And it's basically showing that it's an unhappy home life. And they were like, yeah, we need to show his shitty living situation. They were like, Georgie, can we film in your house? So rude. But we turned my kitchen into Hunt's home, and that was even really cool to see. So yeah, it's a really exciting thing. And I spent all this weekend reading scripts, because I'm excited to get working on the next thing.
It's so exciting. Yeah, because like you're flexing this other creative muscle and like getting to bring a story to life in a different way. That's amazing. Yeah.
It's really, yeah, I'm so excited about it. And Quante, who's the movie is about, he's just such an amazing human being, and I'm just so excited that his story is coming to life on such a big screen, and so many people are getting to hear about what an amazing human being he is. So yes, shout out to you, Quante.
Very nice. So for you growing up, Georgia, I'd love to hear about some of your creative influences, be that actors, movies, shows, anything that like that you gravitated towards as a kid that made you know you wanted to pursue a career in acting.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. So it literally really did begin it basically in my mum's belly. I remember actually she really, really wanted a boy, and she didn't say she wanted to know what the sex of the baby was, but she'd already had my sister, and so and then this mistake came along, and so she really, so she really wanted to have a boy, and I remember that she tells me this story that the doctor was like, you know, I was kicking around there like, yeah, he's going to be a footballer. And then I was meant to be named George Michael. I was meant to be named after George Michael. And then I popped out and they were like, it's a girl. My mom was like, put it back in. But I'm convinced, hearing that story, that I wasn't kicking like a footballer, I was kicking like a dancer, mother. Because, you know, I basically came out of my mummy's belly and I was like, I'm going to be a star. But like, I just started dancing. And, you know, even when my sister was doing ballet classes, I'd be watching in my nappy, and then, you know, next thing I was standing at the front dancing around, showing my sister up, which was probably not fun for my sister. But yeah, so from the age two and a half, 3 years old, I was dancing. And so I always wanted to be on stage. And actually when I was 5 years old, maybe 6 years old, I got to be on stage. I got my first role on stage when I was 6. And it was because my sister was in this show called Aida, this opera. And my mum took me to the rehearsal because she didn't have a babysitter. And the director was like, who are you? I need you in my show, and cast me in the show. And actually on press night of of the show, at the end of Act 1, Aida is standing in the spotlight, and I think at the end of Act 1, it's like a really dramatic solo that she's singing, and I just ran on stage, 6 years old, with a giant fan, and I sat in front of her, even though that wasn't my moment performing. And that was press night, and all the press talked about this little kid and what on earth was she doing, but she was fabulous. I'm sure that's what they said. I don't actually have the clippings, but that was when the director was like, she needs, you know, this is what she needs to do. And my mum saw it. And so I was on stage ever since. But I literally, influence wise, that was the actual question, wasn't it? I'm very good at just going on full tangents. So feel free to wean me back in whenever you want. But influences, you know, so I think my two biggest influences are Britney Spears and Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Oh, I love it.
So like literally as like when Britney came out, it was just, you know, I just looked at her and I was like, I want to be this woman. And I studied all her dance moves and everything. I was absolutely obsessed. I have all these scrapbooks of all, like, every picture of Britney Spears. I was just absolutely obsessed. And so going on another tangent, reading Britney's book recently absolutely broke my heart, because like, God, it'll make me cry now just thinking about it. But like, I was so obsessed with this person. I wanted her life so bad. And I was like, oh my God, if only I had what Britney Spears has, I will be happy. And I even remember going to see Britney. Well, I went to see her a few times as a kid, and she was always amazing. And then in my early 20s, I went to see her and she wasn't good. And I was really upset, and I was crying the whole time, because I was like, Dad, she doesn't want to be there. And she was like walking off stage, or like she's barely doing the dance moves. And I was so mad, because I was like, how dare this woman that has all my dreams in like everything I could ever dream of not want to be there. And then, you know, you read the book and you get all the fucking context. Like, oh my God, of course. Like, why would I want to be on that stage, you know, with all the abuse she was going through? So it's just really interesting, because like I really like, and then I read her book and I just was like heartbroken for everything that she's been through. So yeah, be careful what you wish for, because clearly she wasn't, you know, having a very happy time, but she really did, you know, influence me. And then watching Buffy the Vampire Slayer, I carved my own steak and I took up karate just to be like Buffy. But you know, I have been influenced by everyone my whole life. I think, you know, there's obvious Marilyn Monroe emphasis
Mhm.
in the way I am. And Madonna, all the badass women, Blondie, you know, Kylie Minogue. I think I have so much, like, I love talent, and I love people that just love what they're doing. And so I'm just, I'm always in awe of all of those amazing artists. And Mel Brooks.
Oh, well, yeah,
My
that's
mom,
great.
it's funny actually. My mom
Mm.
told me, I don't know how much of like how far back you've seen the stuff I've done with Brandon, but when I was Vivian Delomprix, a prosperous prostitute, and I was stomping off to the church yelling, "I need that Jesus dick." After my mom watched that video, she was like, "Darling, I've decided that you're the female Mel Brooks."
Oh, wow.
And so I'm like, oh my God, mom, that's the best compliment ever. And then since then, like I read his autobiography, and I really was in awe of his story. It's so amazing how he fell into comedy. So I really just fell in love with the way his mind works, and the joy he has in creating and doing funny things. And I actually treated myself to go and see a night with Mel Brooks a few years ago, when I was randomly in New York, and I was like, I feel like I want to go and see a show by myself tonight. And I looked up, and there was just for one night only, an evening with Mel Brooks. So I treated myself to front row center, and I felt like Mel Brooks was talking to me the whole time.
Oh my
So
God.
yeah, Mel Brooks, love you.
That's amazing. Those are fantastic. I love that's fantastic hearing all of that. And also, yeah, Britney's memoir is fucking amazing. Like everyone has to go read. Oh my God, it made me cry. Like, oh,
It really,
yeah,
there was things that there was like a moment that she talked about when she, you know, when Justin broke up with her,
yeah.
and you know, and like her career had really, you know, obviously taken off. She's Britney Spears, and then
Mm.
she just needed some time at home to heal, and she went home, and her family had thrown away all of her stuff. And I'm like my mom still has, I love you, mummy, my mom still has like I have these big bloody what do you call it, god, I can't, like a folder,
Mm.
a folder, like a binder, that was the word I was looking for. It's not
Oh.
that it even matters, but filled with collages that I've made of all my favorite people: Britney Spears and Buffy the Vampire Slayer, Sarah Michelle Gellar, Cruel Intentions, all of that, Atomic Kitten, all the all the extra.
Oh, nice.
Atomic Kitten didn't really cross the pond, I don't think, but so many, like my mum kept all my childhood scrapbooks
Mm.
and diaries. Like I was just back at Christmas, and I was reading these old diaries. I was actually reading a diary entry when I waited outside the Odeon Cinema in Leicester Square to meet Britney Spears
Wow.
when she was there for the Crossroads premiere.
Wow.
And God, I'm sorry, you're never going to ask me any
No,
questions, so I'm just going to keep
no,
talking.
I could keep I could listen all day. You're good. You're good.
But yeah, but I was waiting outside to meet Britney Spears for the
Mm.
Crossroads premiere, and shout out to my dad because he was there too, waiting with me. And she was late, and then she came out, and she went straight inside the building, and it's like a glass building. So I got on my dad's shoulders,
Mm.
and I started waving at her, and she waved at me.
Oh,
Burst into tears because I was like, that was the best thing that could ever happen to me in my life ever.
that's so
So
sweet.
I am sobbing because I'm like, Britney Spears waved at me, and that's all I needed. But then that day, you know, the British press love to spin everything into a negative. That day
Mm.
I was on the news because they said Britney Spears fans boo her, and are so mad at her because she didn't talk to them. You know, she didn't, because she did just walk straight.
Oh.
She didn't come and like sign autographs or anything. I don't even think I was expecting that. I just wanted to see her. So
Mm.
I was just overjoyed that she waved at me, and then I'm crying. And then I was on the news when when it said that Britney's fans are so mad, and I'm like, no. And I thought, if Britney Spears sees this, she's gonna think I'm mad at her, and I'm not mad
Oh,
at her.
oh
I
my
love her
God.
so much, and I was just happy that she waved at me, and it was just funny because I just found, because I remember that story obviously so vividly, but I just
Mm.
found the diary entry of when I went from that night, and I was reading it, and I'm like so grateful to my mother for keeping all of those things, because, you know, I don't know, for me, some might say I'm a hoarder. I'm not a hoarder, but I really keep memories. It's very important to me,
Mm.
you know, and I'll find like these old notes and these old letters and these old, you know, I just think that's like so important, especially when,
Yeah.
you know, life is short. Like I've lost some people that I wish were still around, and I'll find
Mhm.
something that I've kept from them, and it keeps them alive, you know. So
Mhm.
yeah, another tangent. Gotta love it.
That's so sweet. No, that's I love all that. That's a beautiful story though. At least she wait, oh my gosh. Wow, that's crazy. Of course, the media spinning all that shit. And she talks about that in her
So
memoir.
much in her book. Yeah. Yeah. It's just, yeah.
I love that this is turning into just fangirling over Britney Spears. Well, but real quick, I gotta know what's your favorite Britney song?
My favorite Britney song, I think it would have to be "I'm a Slave for You."
Oh,
And
okay.
I used to have a beautiful big yellow snake called Slinky Sebastian,
Really? Oh
a
wow.
Burmese albino python. Yeah, it wasn't that I was trying to be like Britney. It was just fate that brought Slinky Sebastian into my life. And so I think "I'm a Slave for You" is my favorite because of that. But my favorite Britney Spears album is Blackout.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Blackout is my
Amazing.
favorite album. Yeah.
And she's very proud of that one too. She mentions that.
Yes, I know. It was so nice to
Yeah.
read about that, because I remember at the time being like, this album's so amazing. Why isn't it being promoted more? And you know, and then we get more insight into it in her book. So yeah,
Yeah,
Blackout
absolutely.
is my favorite.
Oh,
Ah, this should just be an episode of talking about
it's
Britney Spears. We don't
I
have to talk
know.
about me.
I love I've seen her perform too. She's amazing. Like, okay, sorry, we'll keep going on a tangent about Britney Spears, but she's amazing. Hell, like
I'm sure we'll come back to
Britney
you,
Spears.
Brittany. We
It's
love
all
you.
good. Hell yeah. Okay, so but back to you, Georgie. So
Okay.
I'd love to hear like when you decided that you wanted to make the big move from the UK to LA. Like, so what was the decision for you with that in particular?
Oh my God, I love all your questions. I need to stop going on tangents so I can hear
No, you're good.
questions. I really love that. Thank you. That's very kind. It's
Sure.
really nice to talk about this stuff, especially right now. A good friend of mine is thinking of moving to LA, and you know, when you're seeing someone else do it, you go, "Hang on a minute, I fucking did that," and I like
Mm.
that's a big deal. So, back in 2012. I was Adam Ant's backing singer, and I was touring with him, and then I went off and I toured with my own band. So I was singing, and I was having a great time recording music and just living the band life, and I loved it until I had like my final gig. I didn't know it was going to be my final gig, but I had the last gig that we had booked, and it was at, like, we got like a little tour bus, like it was a really big deal. I was very excited about it, and we did the gig, and it was the first time in my life that I was dying to get off stage. And it broke my heart, because being on stage is like literally my happy place. Like I don't even, it's like I'm on stage and then I leave the stage and I'm like, what just happened? Like I don't remember anything. It's like an otherworldly, out of body experience. Other body experience. It's not my body. But it's yeah, out of body experience. And so like I love being on stage. I never want it to end. And that night I wanted it to end, and it really freaked me out. And it wasn't, it was nothing to do with me, or it was nothing to do with anything, except for there was all these different moving parts that just sort of went wrong. Sound was going wrong, and just the lights were all on, so it was just, there was all that, the sound was bad, lighting was bad, and it was just not going well. I think the crowd was bad. I shouldn't say that, because maybe someone will listen that was there, but anyway, it was just one of those gigs where I was like, oh my God, I'd never had it before and I never want it again, but it really freaked me out. And that night I got into bed with my snake, Slinky Sebastian, and the rest of my band went off, and they all got pissed and had a great old night, you know. And even my friends were there. My best friend Emma was there. They all went off. Even my dad, my roadie was there. They went off, had a good old time, and I just lay in bed and I was just crying and I was just freaking out, and it just like, I don't know whether it was a panic attack or something, but I was just freaking out because I was like, I just felt like I'd had a few years where my career had gone really well, and then I was sort of coasting, and I just sort of felt like I needed to do something else. So I got home the next day and I was talking to my mom about how I was feeling. She was like, well, you know, you've always dreamt of LA. Why don't you check out LA? And this was September 15th. I remember it very vividly. And so I booked my flight to go to LA October 2nd of 2012.
Wow.
And so I got on the plane and I hated it for the first 3 days. I hated everything about LA just because I didn't know anyone. Everything's so spread out. Everything was so new. It was just so vast. I didn't have a car. It was just very overwhelming. And I just felt like it was ugly. No offense. I love LA now and I think it's beautiful, but I think the beauty's sort of hidden. And so, and then on the 4th day, I went to a bar, Barney's Beanery. I went to Barney's Beanery because some random person said, "Oh, you should go to Barney's Beanery. It's a really cool place to meet people." So I got myself, I was like really determined to try and meet some people in LA. So I got myself all dolled up. I was wearing like a bondage dress. I curled my hair. I had big fake eyelashes on. I was wearing like a medallion necklace, and and I walked into Barney's Beanery. I had no idea that it's a fucking sports bar, and so they all I think I'm wearing like platforms that like look like I was like wearing stilts, you know, like it was ridiculous. Like I felt like in my head, I don't know if I've just sort of, I've told this story a lot, so I don't know if I've really like turned it into like a movie moment, but in my head, the whole of Barney's Beanery turned around to look at me as I walked in. They're like, what the fuck is this? And so I sat at the bar all embarrassed. I had some shots of tequila, and needless to say, I made a bunch of friends, and those friends led me to lots of opportunities, because even that night I bounced around party to party with them, went to a house party, and I moved into that house.
Wow.
Yeah, I went to a house party and I never left. So so that was kind of the beginning of my LA life, because meeting those people, suddenly I was like, I love LA, you know. I suddenly met people that just had this energy that of like you could do anything. And it was kind of everything that I sort of felt like I was missing. And so 3 weeks turned into 3 months, and I went back to home for Christmas. I cried to my mum because home didn't feel like home anymore. So then I went back the next I went straight back after Christmas. And then by April I'd got my visa, and that's really when it hit me, because I was on my flight to LA in April, and that's when I was like, oh shit, because I was so focused on just meeting people, having a great old time, seeing if I could maybe get a visa. And then suddenly I got my visa, and then that's when it hit me. I'm 25 and I've just left. I know 25 sounds old to some people, but for me that was very, very young. I was like, I mean, like, I don't, obviously 25 is not old, I'm very much older right now, but like 25 was very, like, I was just a late bloomer with everything. So I'm like, and I'd never even left my parents' house. So I've literally gone from leaving my parents' house and leaving the country and going to the other side of the world. And suddenly I'm just like in this, I'd moved out by then. I'd moved out of the house that I went to a house party. And so I was by myself in an apartment and it hit me. I was like, hang on a minute. I have no money now because I spent all my money on my visa.
Oh.
I've left my whole family. I'd even left my fiance, who was the guitarist of my band in England. And I was just like, oh shit, what am I going to do now? And here I am 11 years later, I've made it work.
Amazing.
Yeah,
Wow. That's
yeah.
definitely a movie moment that you describe walking in. That's fantastic. Like picture that
I know.
visual. That's amazing.
I
That's
feel like that's what happens with a lot of in my life. I feel a lot of embarrassing stories. As soon as you tell them out loud, they become like a movie, and then they become funny, and then suddenly you're not so embarrassed by it anymore because it feels like you're watching someone else live it rather than you.
Oh, I know what you mean. But
Yeah.
they do say that. They say like embarrassing stories make the best stories for TV and for movies too, certainly.
Yeah.
And that's hilarious. I'm like,
Yeah, I'm definitely that's I've had a pretty crazy life, and I definitely I want to be making more of my life into movies, and so I've been writing a shit ton,
oh,
and yeah, so my
nice.
my first short film that I co-produced, wrote and directed is Someday, and someday I will release it.
There you go.
No, I did. It just did the festival circuit, and I'm really proud of the project. And I really enjoyed seeing it on the big screen and talking about it because it's a really tough subject. But I now need to figure out like doing a worldwide premiere on the web and do a Q&A and stuff and talk about that. But yeah.
Oh, exciting. I'm excited to see that. That's fucking amazing. I understand also you're a muse for artists and sculptors. I'd love to hear a little bit about that, like how that process works. Do they seek you out? Like what a little bit about that experience.
That's a great question. And it really flows well from what I was just talking about. So basically, I'm literally in that one bedroom apartment and I'm like, fuck, I have no money and no jobs, no prospects. Like, what am I going to do? And I literally thought, okay, well, I love art and I love being naked. So why don't I pose for artists? And that's basically how that came about. That was the silly
Hmm.
thought process in my head, but I didn't know that it was going to become one of the most amazing things in my life. And I really it led me to Tanya Wolfregear, who recently passed away, but she was like my LA mother, and she's probably the reason I'm still in LA, because I met her very early on because I posed for a few art groups, which led me once you kind of get a reputation that you're good. And I guess I got a reputation for being very entertaining whilst because I think a lot of the times, like I think maybe I didn't realize that a lot of the times I blagged my way into art modeling. I pretended that I'd done it in England because my sister is an artist and I knew all of the art schools in England, so I pretended that I'd worked at all of them, but I've never
Oh,
worked at any of them.
it's smart though. It's smart to
So that's how I got booked on my first few jobs in LA. And I didn't realize that a lot of the time the art muses don't pose. It's way more pedestrian, and I was way more like ta-da, ta-da, ta, and I think that made me maybe stand out. And then I also loved building relationships with the artists, and so it led to more gigs where it was not just an art class, but like groups of artists or one-on-one with artists, and really becoming a muse. And when I would work with Tanya, it took, it wasn't just about her using my physical body to make a sculpture. It was about her using my heart, my soul, my mind, my everything to find the pose that would match with what she was feeling that she wanted to create. So yeah, it really is one of the most amazing things I've ever got to do. And yeah, and now I'm immortalized. I don't know if you can, oh wait, can you see
Oh,
in the
oh
background?
wow,
Oh,
yeah.
lying down, yeah.
Oh,
That's that's
amazing.
that's one of Tanya's sculptures. And yeah, I did another one with Tanya where I'm like holding my hand here and I'm holding a rock in my hand. And that came from me telling her some really fucked up things that I've been through. One that is brought to life in my movie Someday. And she was basically saying to me, she was like, you don't get angry. What's wrong with you? She was like, so why don't you get angry? Like, these people do these terrible things. Why are you not angry? And I'm like, well, what does that do? And she's like, you need to smash some stuff. And so we were like smashing stuff in the studio. And then that's when she came up with we came up with that powerful pose that was like, you know, a strong woman just like defending herself and fighting back and yeah, so yeah, posing for art really is one of my most favorite things in the world, and it brought me to Tanya. And yeah.
Oh, that's beautiful. You know, and then there's that quote, like, take your broken heart, turn it into art. So, like, you
Yeah.
know, using, yeah, all those
It
emotions.
really, yeah, it really is. And yeah, Tanya became my LA mother out here. You know, I'm very grateful to have been that posing for art brought me to Tanya. And actually, this week I'll be going to the LA art show. And yeah, I've always felt very connected to art, and I studied photography but becoming an art muse was really something that I didn't know was going to become so important for me. And I really, yeah, one day I would really love to, I don't know if it sounds really narcissistic, but I'd love to, I'd love to bring all the amazing artists that I've posed for, bring all their art together, and it would be like a Georgie Muse exhibit. You know, you show all these different amazing art pieces that were all mused or inspired by me. It's just because artists are so, like, every art piece is so different, every artist's experience is so different, and I just think it would be really cool to have like the Georgie Muse exhibit. So I guess I'll
No,
work.
totally. That'll be like a celebration. That's really cool. No, but also because that certainly I would think takes a lot of patience, but also trust. Like you both of you trusting each other, really. So that's, I don't know, that's beautiful.
It really, yeah, it really is a really magical experience. And yeah, and it opened my eyes to, you know, now that's, I see art differently. Like when I, you know, look at Picasso's and stuff, I think about the woman, like what was she going through that was posing for this piece, you know? I think about the like the muse that inspired artists, and I think it's a really, it can be a really beautiful experience. And I'm honored to be an art muse. Yeah.
I love that. Oh my gosh. Okay, so now let's shift gears and let's talk about Brandon Rogers. Of course, your work with him. So it's so funny. So when I met Brandon, I met the Helluva Boss cast at Anime Pasadena, and I asked Brandon, I said, I'm planning on interviewing Georgie, and I asked him, like, what do you suggest I ask her? And so what he said was, ask
Oh
her
my
about,
God.
I was like, I need, like, give me but what he said though was, ask her about, I don't know if this is going to make any sense. He said music, snake, and fire breathing.
Oh
Can
my
you elaborate on that? I was like,
Oh my
oh,
God,
okay, I'll ask
that's
her.
so funny. Brandon, I expected Brandon to say something very inappropriate, but that's
No, yeah, he was like, I was like,
I thought
okay,
you were going to
yeah,
say like some obscure reference of something only
right,
him and I know about or something. That's so funny.
right.
First of all, a big shout out to Brandon's performance in Bosco, because the movie I co-produced,
Oh,
Brandon is in the movie. And when I read the script, I was like, I know Brandon can do this role. And I'm so bloody proud of his performance. And I don't want to say too much because it will be a spoiler, but it's a really amazing dramatic performance. And I'm so proud of him. And he killed it. So that's another reason for people to watch Bosco. If you're a fan of me, you're definitely a fan of Brandon, and you should watch Bosco. So but okay, Brandon, thank you. So yeah, so back, it's so cute that he's bringing that up, because yeah, so basically me and all my tangents and you can't ask me a question without me telling you. You ask me a question and I'm going to tell you the absolute origin of where this came from, and I'm going to go off on all these different
I
tangents,
love it
and
though.
maybe one day I'll answer the question. So but so yeah, basically I studied musical theatre, and I went to dance college. I went to London Studio Centre, which was the dance college that I dreamed of going to my whole life, because my dance teacher from when I was 2 years old, she went to London Studio Centre. So I was basically dancing, and I was like, when I'm older, I'm going to do that. So she was also Miss Debbie Fife was also one of my idols growing up. Back to that question. So I was at dance college, and while I was at dance college, I was on a TV show called Sophia's Diary. And so I was like killing it. I'm like, I'm getting my degree. I'm studying musical theater. I'm getting all my training so I can be like the best performer I can be. And I'm gonna graduate, and my career is just gonna explode. I'm done. I'm sorted. And I graduated, and the show got cancelled. So, so suddenly I was like, shit. I was like on top of the world. And then suddenly I was like, fuck, what do I do now? I wasn't only, I was on top of the world, but also I was so busy. And then suddenly I had nothing to do. I was like, what the hell? So I needed to, keep busy. Auditions don't come as often as you want them. So I was like, shit, what am I going to do to like keep myself busy? I'm a workaholic. Like I want to go, 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 go. And so I walked into a club in London, and I said to them, it was called Cirque du Soir. It was Circus of the Night. And I was like, I want to work here. And they were like, okay, well, what's your act? And I was like, well, you're looking at it. And I was like, well, I dance. And they're like, yeah, but this is like a circus, like you need to have like an act. But I think they liked my my braveness of, so they were like, perform tonight. If you get a good reception, then we'll figure out what your act is. So I performed that night, and I think I got a good reception, because then they were like, yeah, we want to book you. We're going to buy you a snake. So that's how I got my bearded dragon. Sorry, that's my Roy Rogers. I have a lizard too.
Oh my gosh.
My Burmese albino python, Slinky Sebastian. So I became the crazy snake lady at this venue. So I would perform with my snake, and Slinky really became a huge part of all of my acts, because then I would sing, and he would like knock the microphone out the way as I was singing. Like we were just intertwined. We were one. So it was just amazing. But also I wanted to do more. So I would see other people doing the fire and the aggle grinding and the stilt and all of that stuff. And I was like, well, I want to learn that. I want to learn that. I want to learn that. So eventually I just learned all these different skills and became like a one-woman circus act, and started performing in all these different clubs with all my crazy skills. And that's when I did Britain's Got Talent with those skills.
Wow.
And I got to travel the world doing these crazy skills, and it was so much fun. Like I spent so much time in Lebanon and in Paris and Oslo, and it was an amazing time. It was something I was just doing to keep myself busy, and then for a few years it basically took over my life, my crazy circus skills.
That's incredible. Oh my gosh. I'm glad I asked. I'm glad. Oh, that's so amazing.
Well done, Brandon. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for that question, Brandon. So I'd love to hear a little bit about working with Brandon. Obviously, you guys have done so many projects together. Like you have like the Lord and Lady Mingeworthy, like all that amazing stuff. So I'd love to know, like, kind of generally speaking, what's like a day of shooting like? Do you guys rehearse? Do you improvise? Like, just generally speaking with those projects.
Well, of course, I have to tell you the origin. I'm not going to just answer.
Oh, please, please.
No, it's so amazing. So, it's crazy. It really is crazy, because Brandon and I came to LA at basically exactly the same time.
Oh,
So
wow.
he came from the Bay Area. I came from London, but like very early on, like I was telling you about, like I just wanted to meet as many people and try and make friends with everyone, and actually, King Batch, is that how you say it? Andrew Batch, he's like famous,
Right, yeah.
famous actor, TikTok, everything. Well, I think he was before TikTok, Vine, right?
Right.
He's so amazing. He's so talented. So I actually met him through a mutual friend, and he was like, "Oh my God, Georgie, you'd get on really well with Day Storm. You guys should work together." So then I started hanging out with Day Storm, who's another famous YouTuber, and then Day Storm was like, "I'm going to do this hidden dare show. You should be on it. It'll be really fun." So we started shooting that, but it was like before everyone would film everything on their phone. So we even had like hidden pens that had like cameras on and stuff.
Oh,
Like, it
wow.
was hilarious. And on that show, it was Daystorm, King Batch, Brandon Rogers, me, and this other guy called Hawk. And so I remember I walked into Daystorm's house, and it's funny, I always remember everything I'm wearing. I remember I was wearing my little Betsy Johnson, flowery shorts romper with my crazy boots that strap all the way around, and my watermelon necklace. And I remember Brandon's eyes and my eyes just meeting as soon as I walked in. It was like we looked at each other, and I remember being like, I don't know whether it's now in hindsight, but like I felt that like this person's going to be very important in my life. I feel like I really did feel that moment. Maybe it was love at first sight. Who knows? I don't know. But so it was just instant connection with Brandon and I, and we were doing this dare show, which was hilarious because we were in the Apple store. I wish we could get this footage. We were at the Apple store, and I would be Andrew's boyfriend, and Brandon was like, I'm really tired, and he would put a pillow on the floor and he'd get a duvet and he'd go to sleep in the middle of the Apple store at the Grove. And
oh my God, wow.
and Andrew was like, dude, what are you doing? And he starts having a go at him. And I'm like, well, don't have a go at him. It looks like he's tired. And I'm like, hang on a minute, I'm tired too. And I lie down and I go to sleep with Brandon.
Oh my God.
And then we ended up getting chased out of the Apple store by security, and then people like followed us and saw like that Andrew and Brandon were having a go at each other, and we had so much fun shooting this. Like it was just so much fun, and then nothing came of it but Brandon and my relationship, so I remember that. I think it was that day I was like, oh, come in my car. I had a convertible yellow Bug at the time, and we were just driving around blaring music, and it was just this instant love. So and then we he was like, oh, he was telling me about his YouTube stuff that he does, and I remember going into a deep dive into his YouTube, and I was just like, oh my fucking God, this kid is I shouldn't call him a kid. I think we're basically the same age. He might be a bit younger than me, so I guess I can call him a kid. I think he's 1 year younger than me. But like we were kids back then. We were in our mid-20s. And I remember just being like, oh my goodness, this boy is an absolute genius. I was just in absolute awe of what he was doing on his YouTube channel. And this was before he blew up. Like I'm sure he had a fan base because he was so fucking talented, but and so I was just like, I can't. And he was like, oh, I'd love to work with you on things I'm doing, and I'm like, anything you want. Yes, he knows. He like we're 12 years, 11 years on. He still knows that I'll say yes to anything he wants me to do. So and so that was that, and we continue to make amazing things together. So. What was the question? Oh, what's the day of filming, right?
Right. That's right.
It's just, what I love, I've always been I worry about everything. I do I'm one of those people that just I'm like, when I'm going to sleep, I'm worrying if I'm going to get up and I'm so good at getting up and time management and stuff, but I'm a planner. I'm like, I have to make sure I get up and I get here on time, and I always have everything prepared. I've always been like that as a kid, like costumes folded, everything ready and stuff. And with Brandon, it's I love that I can literally just, obviously I have to make sure I look however he wants me to look for that character, but I can just turn up to set and not have anything prepared in my head, and I know that we're going to create brilliant things. It's this amazing freedom that he knows exactly what he's bloody doing, but he doesn't need to tell us. He has everything perfectly planned out. Like I've always said that I would love to be inside Brandon's brain, just for a day, because it's just a genius's brain. Like he pictures, because he edits every fucking thing as well. Like he puts everything together, and so he knows exactly what he needs to get. But it's a beautiful set, because it's always so much fun, but it's so quick. He knows when he's got it. It's never, sometimes you're on set and you have to do one scene for the whole day until you get it right. But with Brandon, he knows he's got it, and you move on. And because I've worked with him for so long, I trust that we've got it. Like I don't have to worry. That was my point. I worry about everything. When I'm filming with Brandon, I don't have to worry about anything, because I know he knows exactly what he wants to get, and he knows he's going to get it out of me. And I can just be living in the moment and not worrying about what to do next, because you just get everything done. And it's just, it's so much fun. When we did the most recent one where, no, it wasn't the most recent one. His Class Acts is his most recent, but the one he was doing, the interactive one, when I had all the hot dogs in my mouth. I remember Brandon that day on set, he said, Georgie, can you go full Stella on this bit? And I remember looking at him and I was like, Brandon, that's the best compliment you have ever given me. You just directed me with me, which I was like it really felt really amazing. I'm like, wow, you're not saying like, Georgie, can you go a bit more Helen Mirren on this part? You're telling me to do one of my characters on my, so it's really it's just so much fun. And I love all the people that Brandon works with, and we just have an absolute blast. And the Mindworthies, we've had so much. I hope they come back soon in something, because we've had so much fun becoming the Mindworthies.
They're so good. Oh my God. I love hearing about like just Brandon's creative process. He clearly is like a genius. I think like that's amazing, honestly. Wow. So then that's a perfect segue, of course, to talk about Helluva Boss. So I'd love to hear about the origin. So like the audition initially for the character, and like what was your initial impression of Stella?
So actually I met Vivian, and she heard my voice, and she said, oh, I definitely need you. I feel like you've got a great voice. I feel like you'd be great on my show. And then that was that. So and that's when I got asked to be Stella. So that was that. I didn't actually audition. I don't think I auditioned. Did I audition? I don't think. No, I think I think she just. It's funny because I know that Morgana's told me that her and Viv laugh a lot about how how lovely I am, and how they turned me into this really evil character.
It's so funny. Oh my God.
Which is funny because I like that's how my career began. When I was telling you my acting career began, when I was telling you about being on a show when I was at dance college. In that show, I played the Queen Bee, the real bitch character. Oh. And I remember I was so close to Rachel, who was the person, the show was called Sophia's Diary. I was so close to Rachel, who played Sophia on the show. And I was such a bitch to her. Like we hated each other on the show. And it was sort of shot mockumentary style. So it was very real life. And so when they'd say cut, I'd be like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to be so mean, So I was that bitch. And then I stopped playing evil characters for quite a long time. And then now I guess I'm back in my bitch era. Which I'm loving. I think it's funny how everything, when you talk so much, everything's going to intertwine. But I was talking about how I don't get angry very much. But seriously, clearly in my characters I become very angry. So so Stella, it's so much fun to just really just yell and scream and be a complete bitch.
I did want to ask you about that. Like, do you find it like cathartic to unleash all that anger? Like, is it strenuous on your voice, or is it just always like, letting it out? Like,
it's really, it's definitely therapeutic for real. And but it's definitely I like my voice really bounces back very easily. Touch wood. I hope that this continues. I hope I have like magic vocal folds or something. But like it does seem to bounce back. And like definitely with my music and stuff, I was always singing more rock and roll. So it's like I've always had that sort of aggression in my singing voice and my vocals. But I always want to make sure that I can be as Stella at the beginning of the session as I am at the end. So the last session that I did, I was actually recording in England, and it was funny because I always joke about how Stella is inspired by my mother.
Oh, no.
Sorry, mom. My mom has like she can go from 0 to 100 like anger wise, and she's Polish, so like it's not the same accent as my very posh royal Stella. But my mum also, even though she's Polish, she's basically English now. She's lived there since she was 19. And she drinks like 8 cups of tea a day. And when I was recording in London, I really wanted to make sure, because there was a lot of screaming I had to do, and so I wanted to make sure that my voice stayed lubricated. So I was drinking a lot of tea, and I felt like, oh my gosh, I really am my mother. I really am like I'm really going full on Christina right now. Mum, love you. Yes. So yeah, but yeah, just definitely like hot tea with ginger and lemon helps. But yeah, like I couldn't being Stella it really is a dream come true. I love every minute of bringing her to life, and I can't wait to see what she does next.
I love that. I know. I'd love to hear actually from your perspective. Like, do you see Stella solely as a villain, or do you like sympathize with her at all since you're playing her, of course? So, like, I'm interested in hearing about that.
Yeah, it's I like to think that no one's a bitch for no reason. I like to think that no one is a villain. No one just I like to think that no one's just born evil, but there are some terrible people out there, so maybe they were born that way. But I feel like usually hurt people, I like, so we haven't seen yet, have we? But I do hope that that we find out a bit more why she is the way she is. But yeah, I like to think that there's that she can't be a bitch for no reason. And obviously her husband is cheating on her with that disgusting imp. So that would make anyone mad, wouldn't it? Cheating is wrong, even if it's an arranged marriage. It's terrible to cheat. So I don't know. I like to think that there's going to be but yeah, it's so tough to not to talk about anything that you're not meant to talk about. But yeah, I like to think that that there's going to be some reasoning behind, because it's funny, the scenes, and a big shout out to Jason Lachey, the scenes with Andrew Elfis. I think I was going past tonight. Strange. With Andrew Elfis, like I like seeing the relationship, the brother-sister relationship, and it just seems like she's not all there. She's like on a different planet, and it's just, so you like to, I wonder why she's in this sort of, like, he's just like trying to knock some sense into her, and she's just like, like this brat, so I'd love to know exactly like more of where that stems from and stuff. But yeah, I just think I really enjoy that she's just, I think you got to love to hate her, don't you?
Oh, totally. I know. Well, that's funny you mentioned, because like honestly, one of my favorite line reads of yours is when she says like I want him dead so badly, and she like sounds like a like petulant kid. Like that's so hilarious.
Yeah, I know, and I remember like doing that, and yeah, it really is like, because she's just like, for goodness sake, like it's one of those people And it's so fun to be like to act one of those people because like I was saying, I worry about everything, the repercussions to
Mm.
everything. I like just how my brain works, which I think might be refreshing for people to know, because I feel like maybe from the outside looking in, I look like I'm very carefree, but it's all an illusion, guys. I worry about everything. But with with the way Stella is, and she really is like, she just wants him dead. She wants him dead. She's not thinking about what that's gonna do. She just like,
Right.
I just want this done. I hate him. Kill him. Over. And it's fun to bring her to life because she couldn't be further from the way I am as a human being, which is which is
Right.
probably a good thing.
Right.
I
Oh my
not
God.
like you, mother, that much. No, I'm joking.
Oh gosh. Well, because obviously one of her iconic moments is the, I don't care who you have to go through, make it happen. But
Yeah,
but that's because like she's sitting it and then he's right there. Like that moment when I first watched, I was like, oh shit, that's like fucking crazy. But
I know.
that line obviously is amazing because it can be used as like a motivational line, which is great too, though. Like I
I
love
know. Yeah, I actually I sign that a lot on people's prints because I'm like,
mm.
yeah, like because I think it is, yeah, it's yeah, like today, make it happen. Yeah, like I'll wake up, make it happen. Yeah, yeah. So like it can be a thrilling a positive moment. Yeah, it's good. Yeah, wake up every morning and make it happen, guys.
I love that. Yeah, there you go. I know everyone loves I like tormenting you, right? That line, I think.
Yes, yeah. Yeah, and it's so mean. I just, yeah, it's really fun to play someone that's so different from myself. Like this. So yeah.
And I know personally what I'm hoping to see, and I know you can't like say anything, but like I'm hoping at some point to see her relationship with Octavia explored more. With
I
like,
know. Yes, me too.
mhm. But and then I know so of course we also got to mention Morgana Ignis, who of course is Sally Mae. I know you two you're like best friends
Oh my God.
signing the
Yeah, I
prints.
love her so much. It's so great, and as Georgie loves an origin story.
Yes, do tell, do
We
tell.
Morgana and I met literally just like this. I think I was sitting in this very spot too.
Wow.
It was on a Zoom when we were doing like one of the Helluva Boss interviews during like the COVID time, I think. And
Mm.
so we were all on Zoom. And I remember I'm always early for everything. It's very British of me. And I was, and so I was, and I worry about technology because I worry about everything. So I was like panicking that I wasn't going to be able to figure out the Zoom. And I was like, I don't want to be too early, freaking out. And then I come on and Morgana's the first one there and then me. And so then we get chatting then. And then, the rest is history. And then the next thing, she's coming over to my house and we feel like we've already hung out a gazillion times, but it was just on live streams. And yeah, she's
I
one of
love
my
that.
closest friends, and yeah, she's fucking great.
I love that. I know because then through your friendship, then people started shipping your characters. So you got Barn Owl, right? Stella and Sam. I love
I know, and
that.
it's just, yeah, it's so great to see those two characters together. And yeah, it really, and that's something I just, the fan base is just so amazing. It's just like, I can't get over how it's funny, like especially being with Morgana, and she loves to be saying something like to the fans like, oh, I bet you'll draw this sometime. And then the next thing we haven't even finished talking, and then it's someone's drawn it and I'm like, what? It's really amazing. The fan base is so badass, and yeah, I'm just so grateful to be on such an amazing show with such amazing people and such amazing fans.
I know that is incredible. So then when I met Morgana too, I asked her, I was like, Morgana, I'm planning on interviewing Georgie. So first off, I think so like she was like shaming you for not being there. Like we shame like she filmed these like, oh wait, you want
I've got
Morgana?
the video,
Yeah,
yeah.
she was like, oh, hey, Georgie, someone wants you. And I was like, oh, Georgie, where are you? Yeah, that's too funny. Oh my God. But then, so I asked Morgana too. I was like, Morgana, I'm planning on interviewing Georgie. Do you have any questions I should ask her? So her very important questions that she would like to know, Georgie, is why do you keep leaving Morgana? Are you mad at her? How did you become this monster? She was very unhappy that you weren't there. I was like, okay, I'll ask her. I'll ask her for you, Morgana. So there you
Oh my
go. On the record, I asked them.
Oh my God, that's so funny. I know it's crazy. I don't know. I've definitely I love LA so much, maybe because I'm not in LA very often. So when I'm in LA, I'm like in awe of everything that LA has to offer, but I'm always bouncing around and escaping it. And yeah, and right now it's ski season, so I will be bouncing up to Mammoth because my first loves were dancing and skiing. So yeah, I will be dancing on my skis.
Oh,
The month. So Morgana, yes, I'll be leaving you again, but it's not you, it's me.
Oh my gosh, that's too funny. No, but you know what? That's so true. Like when you're away from something, you appreciate its beauty more because I'm from New York, so like when I'm like
Ah,
so I haven't so like when I went to the city a few months ago, I was like, oh, it's so beautiful. I haven't been to the city in so long, and I'm like, oh, it's so beautiful with all like it was around Christmas time, so it's too
I
funny. You have like
love
a
New York. Yeah,
yeah, you have like a newfound appreciation for it, so that's definitely true. I agree with that.
exactly. Yeah, I love it.
Yeah. I know, of course, you've been to a bunch of like fan conventions, and so I'd love to hear like your favorite con experience and like seeing people in the incredible cosplay, all that amazing stuff.
Well, I haven't done a lot, but I'm hoping to. I've got a few coming up, so I look forward to doing a lot more. Um, oh my God, so it was so fun. Level Up it was just a dream. It was a dream come true, and Morgana and I basically just gate crashed. We weren't invited to go. We were just like, we're just gonna go. We're gonna take over Stolas's booth, and we'll just see what happens. And so I just really didn't really expect much I just expected to have a great time with the rest of the cast and everything. I didn't expect to be meeting so many fans that wanted to meet me. It was really just a shock. I was like, oh my goodness. Like I think like the amount of times like we do the interactions on over the phone and talk to fans through the internet and stuff, and all of that's really, really exciting, but just in person it's just a next level experience. And I was just in shock because we got so much love, and I just didn't know that I was going to meet so many amazing fans and they were going to be so excited to meet us. So it was really overwhelming in the best way, and it made me so happy. And it was funny because I remember the day after Level Up, this one that you just briefly met behind the screen kept finding me around the house, just sitting there staring in space. So I didn't know what to do with myself because I was suddenly just so overwhelmed with like all this attention, and it was like literally my dream come true. That's what I've been, working towards my whole life. And then suddenly I was like, it's over. Where are all my fans? I'm so
Oh,
lonely.
where's no, no, honestly, I wanted to bring that up because I remember, like, I saw on your Instagram, like, last year when you posted, like, basically that copying that meme of that
Yeah,
sad guy. It's like,
you remember
but
it. Yeah.
I do because I was like, that's so relatable because I've been to now several fan conventions and it's like, it is like such a euphoria and rush of like meeting people all day and like a love fest, honestly. And then afterwards, like, all right, now what? So that's
It's
so
really
funny.
it's really
Yeah.
funny, and it reminded me of, because I grew up in the theater, as I was telling you, I did that show when I was 6 years old, and I performed my whole childhood. And being in the theater, it was like literally like, it wasn't 3 days like a convention, but it was like 7 weeks of euphoria, performing every night, and then suddenly it's over and you're like, what do I do? What do I do with myself? Like I just,
Mm.
and it really is like the post show blues, and then now I've got the post convention blues. But yeah, it really was. It was so amazing. One amazing fan came over and was like, Georgie, Morgana, will you sign my arm? I want to get a tattoo. And I was
Oh
like,
no.
stop it. And I thought she was joking. So, but I was like, okay, so I'm drawing it very carefully. She's going to get it tattooed. But like, I don't know if you've seen my autographs that I do with the Streamily prints and everything. Like
Mm.
I write like big handwriting. It's not like a squeak, some people sign and they're like, no, I take my time. It's like a work of art for me. I feel like Stella would write that way. So I wrote on her arm like, bloody love ya, Georgie and Stella with a crown, and it was big because I write big, you know. And as a joke, I said to her, I was like, "That's gonna hurt." And and the next day she came back and she had the tattoo on her arm, like all this blood dripping down, and she got it tattooed. And I was like, "Oh my God." That's just like I'm like look at my cheeks, like I'm like it's just so amazing, and it looks fucking good, so it's a great fucking tattoo, so good
That's
on you.
dedication. That is beautiful
Yeah,
though. Wow,
it
I love
was. Yeah,
that.
yeah, I loved
That's
it.
incredible.
And yeah, I just yeah, it was so much fun meeting everyone, and I'll be back at Level Up this year, so I hope to meet a bunch of people, and yeah, and doing more conventions. So I'm just so excited to get out there and meet everyone, and yeah, it's just it really is so exciting. I love human interaction. I had to adapt to this Zoom thing and Instagram lives and all that, and I enjoy all that too, but I really do love meeting people's energy, and I love cuddles. So if anyone comes to the convention, please come and give me a cuddle.
Well, there you go, everyone. Be
Yeah.
like, yeah. Oh
Yes.
my gosh. So that definitely Stella will be like, get the fuck out. That was definitely not
I
Stella.
know, don't
Like,
touch me. Yeah, exactly.
totally. Oh my God. Okay, so let's do lightning round real quick. So what's the favorite city you visited so far?
Anywhere in Italy.
Oh, beautiful. Oh my God.
Rome. I'll pick Rome.
Beautiful. Oh my God. Okay, so is there a country or city you're hoping to visit at some point that you haven't yet?
I really want to go to New Zealand.
I've heard of New Zealand's like unbelievably
Heard it's like the
beautiful.
most beautiful place in the world, but like Italy is my favorite country in the world, and every part of Italy I've ever been to, I'm just like, how can it get more beautiful? But I just went to Rome for my birthday, and I can't wait to go back. I couldn't believe how magical that place is. So Rome, but yeah, New Zealand, never been there. I've never been to Australia either. I really want to go there
Mm,
too.
oh, gorgeous. Okay. So favorite comfort food.
Oh, my mum's macaroni cheese.
Oh, yum. Oh, wow. Favorite animal.
Favorite animal? Oh my God, it's so hard because I love all animals, but squirrels. I love squirrels so much.
Oh, they are so cute. Oh gosh. What's the first concert you've ever been to?
I went to the Rolling Stones when I was
Wow.
7 years old. My dad started me off right. Yes, I went to see the Rolling Stones in 1995 at Wembley Arena. I still have the t-shirt because it was like a giant dress to me then. It still fits me now. And yeah, so I went to see the Rolling Stones. Charlie Watts is my favorite Rolling Stones member, and rest in peace. Love you, Charlie. And yeah, I'm actually going to see the Rolling Stones this summer, and my dad's coming.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Coming to
Oh, so
LA to
cool.
come with me, yeah.
Very nice. What is your go-to karaoke song?
Okay. My favorite is Kate Nash Foundations. My fingertips are holding onto the yeah, that's my
Oh,
favorite one to do, but a lot of Americans don't seem to know it, so I need to come up with something that's more sing along. But yeah, I love Kate Nash's Foundations.
that'd be something Britney, probably some Britney song, but yeah,
Oh yeah,
right.
I do. I just feel like I can't do her justice.
So
I'm
Mimi's
worried.
Princess of Pop. Okay, so what is the latest book you've read or book you're currently reading?
The latest book, I just let me look up actually. I just finished. Oh, actually, I won't tell you the last book I read.
Oh, okay, fair enough.
No. I will tell you the last book I finished was There's a Hole in My Bucket by Roy Tolkien. So he's the
Oh,
grandson he's the great grandson of J.R.R. Tolkien. And
wow.
and this is a beautiful story. Oh, Royd, I love you. So Royd, see, it all comes back around, doesn't it?
Hmm.
Royd was at Barney's Beanery that night.
Wow. Oh, wow. That's
And
amazing.
I lived in that house with him when I first came to LA. Oh my God, it's great. We're doing great with this.
I love all the
So
connections.
intertwined, but yeah, so I just finished Royd's book. It was so amazing. And yeah, so it's about his brother who died of ALS, and he left him a bucket list of things to do, and it's just the most amazing book. And I've always loved Royd, well, for as long as I've known him, and reading his book, you just fall more in love with him, because you're just like, wow, what an amazing person. And I never got to meet his brother, but what an amazing brother he was, and what an amazing human being he was. And it's a really great read, because obviously it's heartbreaking and it'll make you cry, but Royd is really bloody funny, so it will make you laugh a lot too. So yeah, there's a hole in my bucket. Everyone go get it.
Oh, I love that. Okay. A couple more. Show you're currently binging or recently binged.
What am I? It's funny. I'm watching. I'm doing so we're doing a Jessica Tandy marathon. So last night I watched Driving Miss Daisy, and we watched Fried Green Tomatoes, and No Battery. Is that No Batteries? Batteries Not Included? Yeah. So we're doing all these like older movies. What show did I just finish? I'm trying to think what show I've recently watched. But yeah, I have to look it up. Let's have a look. I don't know. I watched Super Pumped. About it was like the Uber story. What? Yeah, I can't bloody think what show I just watched. Yeah, I've been watching all those movies. I've been doing the Jessica Tandy marathon. And right before that, I watched all the Lord of the Rings.
Oh, wow.
So, which was funny, because I was writing to Royd. I was like, who knew your great granddad was such a great writer? Well, these are great. So that's a good sense of humor. So yeah, I've been binge watching a lot of older shows and older movies. I can't think what TV show. So sorry.
Oh, good. That's amazing, though. What is the movie you've seen the most?
Probably Grease. I used to say to my mum as a kid, I'm like, Mum, can John Travolta come babysit, please? And she'd have to pretend to call John Travolta and be like, sorry, he's busy right now, but maybe next week. And then I'd ask again. So yeah, Grease for sure. Center Stage, I've seen it a gazillion times. Clueless movies, seen it a gazillion times. Cruel Intentions. So yeah, Fight Club. Yeah.
Classics. Amazing. Do you have a favorite swear word?
Cunt.
I mentioned that to Brandon. I was like, I love when you say that I spot a cunt. So I was like,
I think spotted a cunt. Yeah, it's funny how offended people get by that word, and it's not an offensive word. It's just like fuck, and fuck's not an offensive word. We love it, cunt. But yeah, I'm sure you have to bleep that out. But that's my favorite.
No, it's swearing. It's all good. You're all good.
Okay, good.
Honestly, fuck is very versatile, though. That's why I like the word fuck. It's very versatile, you know?
But I think the same with cunt. It really is very versatile, because like English people, like we stab our toe and we say, oh cunt, like it's just like shit. It's just like fuck it. We use it for the same meanings.
I do find it interesting. Yeah, in the US, yeah, that's like whatever. That is interesting. I don't know. And so my last one is describe yourself in one word.
Joyful.
Oh, I love that. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Such an absolute joy, Georgie. I could like sit here and like listen to your stories for hours, I swear. But so my last question though, I love asking advice. So career advice, life advice, any advice you care to share.
I just think do what you love, and and work really bloody hard. You have to, especially in this industry, but just do what makes you happy, because it's life's always going to have its ups and downs and everything, but just do what makes you happy, do what you love, and if you love it, then you're going to do it well, aren't you? And you're going to keep doing it.
Well said. Well said.
Yeah, and keep smiling. Smile, and the world smiles with you.
Very true. Yeah, we always need more positivity, more joy and love and laughter. Beautiful. Oh my gosh. So such a joy having you on, Georgie. So also feel free to share your social media, anything else you want to promote.
Thank you so much. Yeah, Georgie Leahy. You hopefully know how to spell my name. That's basically on all of the things, but basically, and go watch Bosco on Peacock.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Perfect. And with that, that's going to conclude this week's episode of Storytelling Saga. Be sure to check out storytellingsaga.com for all places to listen and where to follow on social media. And as always, feel free to send me any questions, comments, or writing prompts by emailing me at storytellingsaga@gmail.com. Until next time, thank you for listening, and remember, write what you love.